Hi kids, this is teacher Vidya. My aim is to make you all to describe the political developments in the northern and Deccan regions of India between 7th to 12th century. How do we choose which political party will rule our country? Do you think that people could choose their kings in the past? We choose our ruling political party through elections. In the olden days, the king's position was either hereditary or came to power by winning battles. Today, we will learn about the various dynasties that came to power in the northern and Deccan regions between the 7th and 12th century of India. Dynasty meaning a line of hereditary rulers of country. After the death of Harshavardhana, India was divided into many regional kingdoms. The Pala dynasty ruled the Bengal region. Rashtrakutas ruled in the Deccan region, mainly Maharashtra and Karnataka. Gujarat Pratigaras ruled northern India, including Gujarat, Rajasthan, and Malwa regions. Rashtrakutas were Samatas or warrior chiefs landlords under the Chalukya rulers. King Dantidurga established his rule by overthrowing the Chalukyas. Dantidurga performed a ritual sacrifice known as Hiranya Grabha. Hiranya means light, Grabha means source, by which a non-Satriya would convert into a Satriya. Gopala, the first king of the Pala dynasty, was chosen to rule Bengal by a group of important chieftains after the death of King Shashanaka of Gauda. Harichandra, the founder of the Pradigaras, is believed to be Brahmin who served as a Samanta under the Rashtrakutas. His successors went on to establish control over Rajasthan, Malwa, and Uttar Pradesh. We will learn about the administration in the new dynasties. The common people like farmers, craft persons, cattle keepers, and traders had to pay either a part of their produce or income as tax to the rulers. Sometimes tax was in the form of forced labor called veti, where people had to work for the king for free. Kadamai or land revenue was another type of tax. Usually, the Samatas collected these taxes for the rulers. We will learn about the conflicts between the kingdoms and inventions from the west. Kannauj. Kannauj was situated behind the river Ganga, was extremely fertile region. Aside from providing water supply, was an important route for water transport. Important cities near Kannauj were Prayag and Benares. Kannauj was centrally located, being located on the banks of river Ganga. The region was extremely fertile and was an important trade link to the eastern and southern regions of India. This conflict to annex Kannauj between was known as the tripartite struggle. This made the dynasties weak and exposed to invasions from the west. Muhammad of Ghani invaded India many times to attack most of the temple towns and return to his home with the wealth. As a result of these multiple invasions, India became prone to attacks from the northwest. After the death of Muhammad of Ghani, India was invaded by Muhammad of Ghor, whose generals established Muslim rule in India after defeating most of the rulers of northwest India. Let us learn about the Chola kingdom in detail. How did the Cholas rise to power? What kind of relations did the Chola rulers have with their neighbors? The Chola kingdom was established by Vijayalaya in the 9th century after overthrowing the Pallavas. He and his successors slowly defeated and took control of their neighboring kingdoms, including Sri Lankan and southeast regions, mostly to occupy trade ports and to make the routes safe for the traders. How did the Chola rulers display their victory and power? The rulers of the Chola dynasty, like Rajaraja Chola I, Rajendra Chola I, ordered the construction of big temples to mark their victories over neighboring kingdoms. Large amounts of money were spent on constructing these temples, which had details of the rulers' victories inscribed on walls. How did the temples become so important in the social, cultural, and economic life of the Cholak Empire? Settlements came up around these temples, which gradually became the focal point of assemblies, craft, cultural, and economic life. Artisans from all over the country came to the temples to work and produced a variety of stone and metal work. The famous Chola bronze images are example of this. The Bharatanatyam dance and Carnatic music emerged as devotional art forms of praise and goddess. Traders would organize fairs on special occasions to sell their goods to people visiting the temples. Why do you think the irrigation and the agriculture policies of the Cholas are so famous? Two types of taxes were important to the Cholas: trade tax and agriculture tax. Hence, agriculture was an important activity as a source of taxes that were required to maintain the large army. To ensure that the farmers had enough land to work on, the Cholas had forest cleared and clean land leveled. To ensure that crops did not fail, they constructed many dams, reservoirs, tanks, and wells to store water. What was the system of administration in the Chola kingdom? The Chola rulers took decisions regarding the kingdom with the help of council of ministers. Their rule was a balance of central control and local independence. The Chola kingdom was divided into provinces known as mandalams, which were further divided into units called Valanadu. Each Valanadu was divided into districts known as Nadu. The Cholas had a very effective system of local government in villages and cities called Pattanam. The villages had two types of assemblies: Sabha, which was controlled by the Brahmins, and Ar, which was controlled by the non-Brahmin landlords called Velalas. These assemblies were also responsible for collecting taxes. Naharams were assemblies in the towns and cities run by the associations of traders. Thank you so much, kids.